The National Prosecuting Authority has said it has set up a task force that would focus on state capture prosecution. This comes after State Capture Commission chairperson, Acting Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, slammed the unit for its failure to take on state capture. Organised Business has said that it is also looking at measures to bolster prosecuting bodies, including providing private prosecutors to ensure that all those implicated in state capture are brought to book. We're joined by Business Unity South Africa's Coovadia. Mr. Coovadia, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. So, BUSA met on Monday, and what is your position after studying that preliminary report?
Thank you for having me. We did have a special board meeting on Monday to take some initial views on the report. Firstly, all the recommendations in the report we are supportive of, and we will work with government and other social partners to try to ensure that those recommendations are implemented with the utmost urgency. Secondly, we felt that the report does say and does actually identify individuals, institutions, businesses that the Commission is of the view should be investigated by the National Prosecuting Authority. We agree that all of those should be investigated, and if the National Prosecuting Authority is of the view that there's a prima facie case against any of those that they investigate, they should be able to put together a sound case and prosecute. And in that regard, we took note of a couple of public comments by the NPA over a period of time that they do have capacity constraints and resource constraints. So what we have undertaken to do, one of our members is already in touch with the National Prosecuting Authority. We will broaden that interaction into a BUSA interaction. We will meet with the National Prosecuting Authority, and we will firstly ask if they are okay with receiving help from business. If they are okay, how do we structure it so that we don't impinge on their independence in any way, because that is something we certainly do not want to do. The National Prosecuting Authority must be seen to be independent, must act independently, and that's what gives it its force and effect. And then thirdly, to hear from the National Prosecuting Authority itself what sort of assistance we need, what do they want to need, what do they want to prioritize, and that will then determine how we move forward on this. So it's not a decision for us to make. We've made making the offer, but it's a decision ultimately for the National Prosecuting Authority to make, and we will take guidance from them.
There are also private companies that have been implicated in this report. There is a thought, though, that says most or some of these companies that have been implicated remain members of your organization. Firstly, are you aware of this, and your response if you are?
Yeah, so BUSA doesn't have any corporates as members. We are a confederal body, and our members are business organizations. What we did at the meeting on Monday is that we told those business organizations whose members have been named in the report to engage with those members in a very robust way, to put to the members what the report alleges they have done, get from the members as transparently as possible what their response is to this, and then to come back to the BUSA board quickly to inform us on the outcome of those discussions. BUSA is a body that represents business. We have to receive mandates from our members. We need to consult our members. So we thought that it is best that we ask our members to speak to those particular corporates and come back to us to indicate what those corporates are saying, and then we'll take views on. There might be different views on different corporates depending on the feedback we get. But we are absolutely clear that if there is any sign of wrongdoing on the part of any corporate, any business, and the National Prosecuting Authority investigates and prosecutes, they must go ahead and do so, and we would support that. But we do need to go through a process of speaking to those members, speaking to those corporates through their representative bodies on BUSA. And within the next 2 weeks or so, we'll get feedback, and then we'll make a call on exactly what positions we take as BUSA.
Mr. Coovadia, with that being said, for every corrupted, there is a corrupter. What do you say to a thought that says we cannot apply one rule to, one sector and then a different rule to a different sector? There are some sectors of society that feels as though business always gets a slap on the wrist instead of harsh consequences. Is there something to be said about that?
Well, we're not saying treat people differently. We're saying treat everybody who's mentioned in the report in the same way. Investigate all those mentioned in the report, be they a corporate, be they a government department, be they a corporate CEO or a CEO of an SOE. And if the NPAA think that there's a case to be built, then build those cases, including against a corporate CEO or a corporate. And we won't oppose that. And prosecute them, and if the prosecution is successful and there's sentences that are handed down, so be it. That's what the law is there for. So we're not saying treat business differently. We're saying treat all those mentioned in the report in the same way. If the report says, and I don't have the report in front of me, but if the report says SOE X should be investigated and corporate Y should be investigated, then let them both be investigated. We're not going to say, no, please don't investigate corporate Y. I think they should all be treated equally, and investigations should be conducted against all of them. And then the National Prosecuting Authority must decide whether there's a prima facie cases against each people.
And BUSA's position on the protection of whistleblowers?
Yeah, this is something we discussed as well, and something that we'll be engaging our members on. We think that one of the most productive things we can do in that area, we will meet whistleblowers and those who might be speaking for whistleblowers. But one of the most productive things we can do is that if whistleblowers have lost employment as a result of exposing some of the state capture, that we should be engaging our members to look at the possibility of finding employment for people who have lost employment. And the report does make certain a recommendation related to whistleblowers, and we will work with whoever we need to work with to see what role business plays in implementing that recommendation.
Coovadia is the CEO of Business Unity South Africa. Thank you for your time this afternoon.